What's cracking, Naptown? Dear Diary, how y'all doing? It's been a little minute since I updated. Guess I better do that. I have been on a very strange journey, a journey of sobriety and changing habits, I guess. And there's been a lot that goes into that, honestly. So a bunch of months ago, I guess end of October, beginning of November, I decided that I was very bored and I needed a change. And without doing any research, I just decided I was going to get my CDL because, you know, someday I want to drive a RV around the country and I want to be good at it. Oh man, you got to start it off with gratitude. Let's start things off with gratitude. You know, we've been looking for a house to buy. And the more you look at neighborhoods and houses, the more I value the place that I already have and the neighborhood that I live in. I live in a great neighborhood. And I live in a really cool house. And it's pretty difficult to look at these other houses and other neighborhoods and be very optimistic when the place that I rent is so cool. And it's also difficult to convince myself to pay 3 times as much for a mortgage as I pay for rent. So I'm very grateful for this little neighborhood and this little place that I've been living for 13 years. It's fantastic. I just got really lucky. I live in a really cool place, surrounded by really cool people. And the more that I consider it, the more I'm like, maybe I'll just stay here, you know? Maybe I'll just hold off on buying a house because the prices suck and the prices are going down. So I might just wait until the prices go down like a lot and then buy a house, because let's be serious, this economy's trash right now. All right, back to the thing. So months ago, I told myself I was going to get my CDL, and I ran my mouth all about it to all my buddies. And that was before I did any research into the matter at all. And man, when I said that I was going to get a shit job, I was right. Wow. Truck driver is a shit job. And, you know, hear me out. In the beginning, basically, the concept is that you're going to make $1,000 a week, which that's not great money. I mean, a guy on disability makes $1,000 a week. And so you start doing the math, and that $1,000 a week, you're actually going to be doing 70 hours a week to make that $1,000. So right there, you're making $14 an hour. That's fast food money, right? Like, in some states, that's minimum wage. And that's wild. And then you start looking closer, and you're actually responsible for that truck 134 hours per week, which pulls your hourly wage down to $7, $7.50. And you're like, damn, like these truck drivers are making minimum wage. And they're not really, they don't have what it takes to do the math and realize it. And so that's a really dispiriting concept. $7.50 a week, $7.50 an hour. Like, who would work for that? Truck drivers. That's who. And I've watched a lot of truck driver YouTube guys, and they're like, oh yeah, but that's just starting out money. Well, who cares? Like, $7.50 an hour, that's starting out money for any job. That's dishwasher starting out money. And if you go with the high number, $14 an hour, that's fast food starting out money. And so it's a lot to swallow. And I did it to myself. So how long am I going to make it in this process? I don't know. I start schooling on the 1st of June. And it's 4 weeks of school, getting paid nothing, getting paid like $10 an hour. And then that'll put me basically into the 1st of July. At the end of July is the guitar contest. And then a week after that, I'm supposed to go to Boston. And so how is the trucking company going to feel if I take off a week for the guitar contest and I take off a week to go to Boston? And here's the thing. Like, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, the guitar contest doesn't last a week. What do you need to take a week off for? Well, this company is not known for being able to get you home on time. And so if I say, hey, I have a thing on the 24th and 25th, well, they might not get me home until the 1st. You know what I mean? Like, they might be so incompetent that they can't hit that number. And by everyone's personal experiences, that is what would happen. They would just be incompetent to hit that number. And so I don't know how this process is going to go. There's a chance that I'm going to do 4 weeks of school, 4 weeks of driving a truck, and just like give them the middle finger and write a check and say, thanks for the CDL. It's been real. You're never going to see me again. Like that's a very realistic opportunity. This whole project might only last 8 or 9 weeks. And it took me like 7 or 8 months just to get my ducks in a row to do this. And so it took me 7-8 months to get ready, and then I'm only going to do the thing for 8 weeks. That's a bad turnaround. I don't know. It's a lot to consider. Okay, I'll stop complaining about that. Sorry. On the guitar front, I'm gonna start off with The Way You Make Me Feel by Michael Jackson. And I think I've got some fun little concepts in there. And second song I'm gonna play, Sunflower Slow Drag by my favorite American, Scott Joplin. And after that, I'm probably not going to make it into the finals, and that's going to be the end of that story. If I do make it into the finals, I'm going to play the blues. I'm going to play Hesitation Blues, and I'm going to play Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. But I have very little optimism for that. These guys are good. They're really very good. And I can foresee a time in the future where I make it to the finals, but I don't foresee that this year. I think this year I'm going to make some improvements. Next year, probably my first realistic opportunity to get to the finals. Maybe I'm wrong, but these guys are real good. And I've only been doing this for 3 years. Some of these guys have been doing this for 15 years. And the difference between 3 years and 15 years cannot be overstated. It's a lot. It's really very difficult. And that's just the truth. It's a very difficult process. It's a very difficult competition. It's a big job. So that's where I'm at. I've got like 10 days until this schooling thing starts. And then I've got like 35 days. Boy, I'd have to look. No. I've got like 70 days until the contest. And so those are my timelines right now. I am not really looking forward to driving around the country with some dude I don't even know for 2 weeks, because that's part of the process. Like riding around in this truck with some dude I've never met before in my life. That's going to be 2 weeks of my life hanging out with some dude smelling his farts, you know? Wrap your head around that. All right. I'll try to make these more frequent, but there's so much going on right now that it's tricky. All right. You guys have a really good day.